Thelma is a 2017 Norwegian supernatural drama film, I guess. It is about a shy young student named Thelma, and she leaves her small town to go to university in Oslo. However, she's super religious. Her parents are very religious, so she's got trouble making friends on campus. She also is a daddy's girl, so he expects her to like call him every day. They kind of keep her on a short leash, and we don't know why. But then, of course, they quickly enter the concept. The concept is that she basically has these weird psychokinetic powers, and when she starts developing feelings for another girl at school, it ends up confusing her, and her sexually repressed nature causes her to have these psychogenic seizures, not epileptic, but basically she's like hurting. And she keeps it from her parents because they're very weird and intrusive. This movie has a lot to unpack, honestly. It can be described sort of as a sort of homage to Stephen King's Carrie or Firestarter, about a young woman with burgeoning abilities. However, with flashbacks, they start to disperse them throughout the story. We find out the sort of the range of her abilities. There's no end to them. She's basically really powerful, but her parents are afraid. So when she starts to do things that she doesn't want to, her parents decide they might have to take responsibility of her into her own hands until she finally sort of snaps, and she sort of takes her own destiny into her own hands. So this movie has a lot going on. Besides the supernatural angle, there's also the coming of age story. It's also like a lesbian love story. It's also like got themes of religion and like nature versus nurture. There's a lot of like horrific flashback sequences, but also the magic system of sorts in this. Well, not magic. You know what I mean. It's not magic, but like the way the world building of her powers is really vague, and it really hurts the movie because it doesn't want to unpack that. It doesn't want to explain it. It just want to be like it's there. So by the end, you're kind of left scratching your head what's going on, because she basically is like a god or something at the end, and that was really weird. The acting's fine. The movie's really slow though. It's a full 2 hours, and it doesn't give you enough. It gives you a lot of like stretching out, a lot of humming and hawing. It doesn't focus on any one angle though. So the the love story, the supernatural aspect, the parents' relationship, the religion themes, all of it just sort of seems a little bit scattered and unfocused. And the only reason why I wanted to watch this movie is because it was written by Esbil Vogt, and he also did The Innocents, which I haven't seen yet, but is also another movie about young children with abilities, and so they're very similar themed, and it wasn't quite really amazing in terms of like unpacking all of it. It sort of tried to stretch itself in too many areas, and it wasn't horrific or anything either. It was kind of just like magical realism. So Thelma, it was a pretty interesting attempt, but I felt like it needed a little bit more fine-tuning precision to sort of stick to one of the many different angles that the plot was going in, the many different themes it's trying to cover, because it was just trying to do too much. And overall, Thelma's still an interesting watch, but it's really art house. It's really out there. Only recommend it for people who have a lot of patience, but also want something really interesting and a new experience. So I give Thelma a 6 out of 10.